Hi everyone, it's been a while. So, it has been months since I posted anything on this channel, and the good news is I haven't stopped reading. I have tons and tons of books I want to talk about. The only thing is that my reading took an entirely different direction that kind of stalled me for a bit, and I want to talk about that. So on my last kind of channel update, I talked about writing, and how I really wanted to get into writing and read books on writing, and this channel was going to maybe become more about writing. That didn't quite happen. I have written some stuff I really like, but I have not turned into some extremely dedicated writer who's constantly writing and reading about writing. That's not how things went. But they did change in a way that I wasn't expecting. I ended up getting very, very into philosophy. But there is an issue with that when it comes to this channel and making videos. Philosophy is difficult. It's really difficult. And I made one video, I tried to make a video, on Fear and Trembling by Soren Kierkegaard, which I had no idea what I was undertaking when I read that book. When I talked about that book, and I'm only getting an idea even now, and that was months and months and months ago. You know, I talked to a few of my friends about that book who take philosophy, and I just completely missed some of the biggest key points of it, and it was just a kind of a wake-up call, and so I've started reading a ton of philosophy, and I'm really enjoying it, but I feel completely underqualified to talk about it meaningfully, or at least I did when I was reading them. But I've been reading philosophy and really kind of diving into it for 6 or 7 months now, and so I feel like I can tentatively start talking about the ones I do feel I understood. You know, of the 10 or so more philosophy books I've read in the past year, I feel like there's 4 or 5 I can actually say something useful about. And so I'm going to start there and see how it goes. But apart from just not knowing what to say, it's also I didn't know if anybody cared to hear it. You know, philosophy is not the most accessible thing in the world, and so I didn't want to make videos no one would care about or watch. But I think I've got an approach that'll work, because this is not going to become a philosophy channel. This is not going to become some like academic philosophy discussion place. That's not the point of this channel, and I don't want it to become that. Instead, I think this channel is just like, this channel's about books. It's always going to be about the books. And so I'm going to talk about these works just as books, as some of the ideas of talking about why I found it useful, the authors, the history, some things like that. I'm not going to dive into analytical philosophy in like a super crazy academic way, because one, I'm not qualified to do that, it's not fun to do, and I don't think anybody would want to hear me talk about that. But I'm going to talk about the books I love, because I love to do that, and especially because it's a great excuse, because the reason I started this channel was there were a few books I wasn't done with, and I knew that there were more ideas I wanted to get into, and just having to sit down and talk about them made me think about them, and made me revisit these ideas that I loved. And that's exactly the point here. You know, some of these books, people spend their whole lives studying, and I've read them as books from start to finish, and kind of left it there, and whilst I've come back here and there, I haven't really dived into them. And this channel creates a perfect excuse to do just that. And I think when you can combine something creative and something you really enjoy doing with just an excuse to do the thing you wanted to do anyway, I think you're on to a winning formula. So that's the plan. I do have some of the books I'm going to talk about behind me. Pardon my squeaky chair. These are the books I'm really wanting to talk about next. And the reason is, I think they tell the story of why I care about these things. I came into philosophy because, as pretty much anybody who goes into philosophy does, I was looking for answers. Obviously, philosophy doesn't always give the answers, it just gets you to ask the right questions. But these are the ones I've found the most meaning from, personally. I'm going to start with some of the Stoics. Letters from a Stoic by Seneca and Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Stoicism has really actually become a significant part of my life in the past year, and I'll talk about that in that video. Another book that's exactly like that is the Tao Te Ching, which is actually a foundational text in the religion or way of life of Taoism, sometimes called Taoism, which, again, has just kind of clarified a lot of things for me. And one which, you know, I will say now, I'm not vegan, I'm not even vegetarian, though I'm trying to get that way. Another book, Peter Singer, Why Vegan? Obviously, I'm not a vegan, it's not going to be preachy, but some of the ideas in that are fantastic. And so that's it. I just want to talk about the ideas in these books. I started this channel because of a book I loved called Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K, and I loved the ideas in that. And the funny thing is, entirely separately, I realized I wanted to read the Tao Te Ching, and in the bookstore came upon a version translated by Ursula K. A lot of the stuff I loved about The Left Hand of Darkness came from her love of Taoism. And so it just feels like there's been a lot of things. Stoicism came into my life at the right time. The Tao Te Ching linked up a few things I already loved. And a few of these other philosophy books just answered burning questions, or at least challenged or attempted to get at the questions I really needed answered. And whilst I don't have any answers, I feel so much more confident about what isn't the answer. And I'm going to try to be not as vague all the time, but I feel like there's no avoiding it to a certain extent. So yeah, these are the books I'm going to talk about next. I'm going to start with Stoicism, going to move on, maybe to none of these, but these are the ones that I care about. These are going to be the ones that I'm really looking forward to making, because they're the ones that probably matter most to me right now. But I'm also going to make videos on books that are just fun. Like, I've been reading the Witcher series, and I love that. I finished off Lord of the Rings, and that was excellent. And so I will be talking about those. The only reason I'm not as excited for those, perhaps, as these is not because they matter less to me. They're incredible books, but so many people talk about these. Meanwhile, I think these are ones that I don't know if many people in the booktube world are talking about. And so I'm excited for that. But I'll leave it there. This is just a brief channel update to say videos are coming. It's going to shift direction a little bit. Hopefully you still find it interesting, and if not, let me know, because I still want to make videos that people enjoy. And this is some really difficult content to talk about, and I'm not very learned in how to do that. So it's going to be a bit of trial and error, but I think I've been working on it a bit, and I think I know how I can. So I hope it all pays off. Thanks guys for sticking around. Everybody who's still subscribed and hasn't unsubscribed, I appreciate it. Even if it was just because you forgot to, I appreciate it. So please, like, comment, subscribe. Don't feel the need to share this one, it's just an update. I don't want this to be the first video anybody watches from me, but yeah, things are getting back on track. I've got some fun things coming up, so I hope you all enjoy them. Thanks for watching, guys. See you soon. Bye.